What's up, Lo? What's
What up?
going on?
What's up, E. Lee in the place to be?
I can't
Let's
hear
go.
you. I can't hear you, Lo.
Can't hear me.
Lo? You out again?
Oh, man.
My man Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas having a little technical difficulty right now.
Man,
We
these
can't hear him,
settings
but
on-
he's here in spirit. This is the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, yours truly, Eric Lee, in the house. And I got my man Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas working on his audio right now till we can get him right. He's going to be probably in and out for a second. But this is a place where we get a chance to talk fantasy football each and every Tuesday night right here on the podcast, where we talk about, Dynasty League as well as the Superflex leagues with more than two quarterbacks actually on your starting roster, as well as standard scoring, as well as PPR. Lorenzo, you still there, buddy? He's still trying to get in there. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight, man. We're going to talk about the NFL. Of course, we're going to talk about Dak Prescott and his failings. In addition to that, we're going to talk about there we got you up there twice now. Either one of you there?
Yeah, man.
Say something, Lo.
All right, how about now?
He's still trying to be in. Look, hit us up on the comment line when you get a moment. Oh, we got some folks in here. Shout out to my man Mario Gonzalez. Thanks for checking in. He said, "Let's get it." Lorenzo will be back in a second. I'm sure he will. He's going to click back in. Man, shout out to Van Joe. Thanks for checking in on us. He's in there in the house. But we're going to talk about a little bit about what happened last night. In terms of Monday Night Football, you saw what happened. Those birds, fly, Eagles, fly. Well, they won't be flying too much. They only lost one game, so it's all good. But, they were talking about that going undefeated, and a lot of Miami fans listened to the podcast, and I know they were not having it. Okay. Okay. They said they can hear you, Lo.
They can hear me now?
Yeah, they said they can hear you.
All right. I wasn't saying anything.
I can't hear you. But as long as they can hear you.
You can't hear me?
Good stuff.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
So how are we going to do a show if you can't hear me?
We believe it or not, we were all hearing each other a few seconds ago. For some odd reason, now the audio is acting funky on us. But yeah, let's talk about what happened last night. Oh, Latrice Nolan, she said, hello. Hi, Latrice. How are you doing? Thanks for checking in. And don't forget, like I said, we do this each and every Tuesday night right here on the Miami Sports Music Network. They say they can hear both of us fine, Lorenzo. I just can't hear you.
I'm playing some music.
We're going to roll with it.
I don't know how we're going to do this, but all right. Let's
Now I hear you.
Okay.
We got you good now.
Okay. Now I can't see you. It's crazy, man. You come out of here. Now I can't see you at all. You come in here and all the settings are changed.
They changed up on us. They said they can hear us both.
All right. Well, I can't see you for some odd reason now. I don't know why.
I can see you though.
All right.
You look good.
Well, thank you very much. I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Well, good stuff. So let's talk about the NFL, man. We got a lot of folks on the line right now, man. We got a lot of folks out here. Definitely, if you're out there, shout us out. We want to say hello to you. We're going to talk a little bit about fantasy football. We're going to talk about professional football. We're going to talk about roster moves, things you can do during these, buy-mageddons right now. A lot of folks are on buys. Right. So we're going to talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're excited about it. Van Joe said, you don't need to see him as long as you can hear him. Y'all can go ahead. Talk is talk. He said, talk that talk, Lo.
All right. I could definitely talk that talk, but I'm a little upset here that my stuff ain't working right. I don't get it. Anyway, all right, E, what's going on, man? We just act like we on the radio together. Let's go.
I know, right? Back in the day. Look, let's talk about what happened last night.
Well, I'm popping bottles. I'm happy right about now. You know what I'm saying? You know why I'm popping bottles? Because Philadelphia lost. And it always comes back to the Miami Dolphins and anything I do. So I'm popping the cork. Right. Let me pour a little something in here.
Oh, okay. All right. Good
yes,
stuff.
Because it is the 50th anniversary for our Miami Dolphins, the perfect season. So the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles lost last night, that means they will not go undefeated. So, Of course, anytime a team loses and the last team that's undefeated finally loses a game, all of us down here in South Florida, we pop bottles because of perfection. And, we're celebrating the 50th year for that. So, of course, I was excited seeing that game and seeing the game turn out the way that it did. And I was happy to see that the Washington football team was the team. Okay, I'll say it. The Washington Commanders were able to be the team to do that because I got a lot of people up there in the DMV area that
we know a lot of folks up there.
Exactly, that are fans of the team. So I was kind of happy to see them show up. But sometimes if you think about it, though, it's those division games are the ones that turn out to be the toughest because they know each other so well. Exactly. So, and Washington was able to put it down and they held the ball for about 40 minutes and kept the ball away from Philadelphia. And Philadelphia made a lot of mistakes. But that's what happens sometimes when you start feeling yourself a little bit. And when you start believing your press clippings, then you start making mistakes and things of that nature. So, Philadelphia's come back to the rest of the pack after last night.
Hey, absolutely. Darian Green said perfection stands. So y'all got another year. Y'all got another year of holding it down. So it was good stuff.
We've been holding it down for 50
years. 50 years.
Yeah, so, it is what it is.
All right. So for the folks that are out there that, bit the bullet like you did, and I won't say wasted a roster spot, but they said that Deshaun Watson is starting to practice again. He's back at Cleveland getting his practice on. So all those folks that held out and put that roster spot in place, they're waiting on it right now.
Yeah. Oh, we're definitely waiting on it, waiting to see what's going to happen, because if he plays anywhere close to what he did when he was playing for the Texans, that's going to be an upgrade from my current quarterback, which is Kirk Cousins.
Right.
So with the lineup that I have, and if he can perform as a top 10 quarterback for the rest of the season, I'll take that in fantasy football. You know what I mean? So, and he's going to throw the rock, and he's got Amari Cooper to throw to. He's got Peoples, and I think the tight end may be back within the next few weeks, so on and so forth. So the Browns have some weapons on offense. It's just that Jacoby Brissett is a little bit limited with what he's able to do with that particular offense, and he's basically a statue in the pocket. So Deshaun is mobile and can make things happen and extend plays. So that will help that Cleveland Browns defense when he finally starts playing in his first game in Week 13 against the Houston Texans. Isn't that appropriate?
Oh yeah, we got a question. Darian Green says, what should I do with Kyler Murray? Will he be back? He's got a high ankle sprain, right?
Isn't it a hamstring?
Hamstring, yeah.
Hamstring.
Well, hamstrings take a while.
Yeah, it can be. And because that's what he uses in order to be successful in the quarterback position, he uses his legs, and he's very mobile, and he extends plays. So if he's not healthy, I don't think he could be as useful as the Cardinals will need him to be.
The thing about it is 9 times out of 10, Baker Mayfield is probably available. So, Darian, if you need a quarterback, Baker going to be out there because he's going to be subbing in for PJ, and we're going to talk about that a little later when we get to the injury report.
Well, it really depends on how many teams you have in your league, how many roster spots your league has available at that particular time. Because for us in our dynasty league, when something like that happens, it's like, oh well, I mean, all the players are already taken anyway in our league, basically. So we have a 16-team league, and it's about 22 roster spots in our dynasty league. So you pretty much you can bet that those quarterbacks that are coming in more or less are on someone's roster.
Darian said, Baker, really? Well, I mean, Darian, look, how many teams are in your league? Because at the same time, realize that you've got, I think Colt McCoy is the backup. So if you already have Kyler Murray as your starting, you can, of course, you probably could pick up Colt McCoy, but there are probably a lot more there are probably better suggestions in terms of putting people in that place before you put Colt McCoy. I suggested Baker Mayfield because if you are in a large league, 9 times out of 10, he's probably available. Baker is not, the number one quarterback like he used to be, but he's serviceable. He'll get you 15 to 20, on a good day. I think he will. What do you think, Lo?
It really depends on what the rest of your roster is looking like at this particular point.
Right.
I mean, basically, it's a quarterback that can get you 10 to 15 points because that's what I've been doing with. I'm 6-4 right now. I think Eric and I have the same record, and I'm 6-4, and I have Kirk Cousins And he's not, I mean, he scored 20 points for me once all season long.
Right.
But it's the rest of the roster that has to score points for you when you're in that situation. Just so if I'm not sure what quarterbacks are available in your league. Maybe a Trevor Lawrence might be available. But I don't know. I would have to see.
Vaughn Joe said, Baker, you better off leaving the slot empty before you play Baker. Then I got, okay.
Who are they playing? Who are they playing against?
Gotta check that. We got color commentary. He said, if you're desperate, Baker ain't a bad place. See, that's what I'm saying.
That's right.
They can make him serviceable. I believe that. I think they can make Baker serviceable. Now he's not gonna be a world beater.
Right. And the Panthers has some decent wide receivers that can score some points for you. You know, and Foreman out of the backfield is doing quite well since McCaffrey's been traded.
Right. Okay. Well, man, we moving right through the show. Let's talk about this guy. Who is this Christian Watson?
Oh, the rookie from, I can't see anything on your screen. Okay. I can't see the screen.
No problem. He's not up anyway. But okay. We see it I put it on the show sheet. Who is this Christian Watson? This guy went ballistic Sunday night.
Well, I think the problem with Green Bay is it starts with Aaron Rodgers, and I mean the problems that he's having with the coach. I mean, it goes back until last year. If you go back, was it last year that was the fourth down play and Aaron Rodgers? Was it last year's playoffs or was that the year before? I can't remember.
That was year before.
It was year before. Okay, so basically they've been having issues going back that far. And then you can see that even this past game against the Cowboys, they had a little beef on the sidelines where Aaron Rodgers was saying, we should have ran the ball at the time. And he's throwing pass plays. So right now, Aaron and the coach they didn't vibe and they're not on the same page. But where I fault Aaron Rodgers is that, why Devontae Adams left? Devontae's like, what are you going to do? I need to know. You're stringing me along. Are you going to be here for the next 2 to 3 years? So Devontae needs to know. If not, then he's out. Right. And then Aaron chooses not to practice with these young wide receivers that they have on their roster in the offseason. He's not there.
And then you wonder why he can't connect.
And you can't. And then I don't think he showed up until like training camp, as opposed to getting those guys together so they can get together. They can get together and practice and find out what their tendencies are, so they can be some type of chemistry between them. And Aaron chose not to do that. So when you line up on the field and they were having problems in the preseason, you see they don't understand. And then these are young players. And Watson, in fact, on the very first play of the season, they threw a bomb to Watson against the Minnesota Vikings, and he dropped it. So what do you think that did for his confidence? And then he even dropped games in this Dallas game. He dropped passes in this Dallas game, but Aaron just kept coming back to him. Kept coming back. So
he will come back to him again next week
I think it was 4. He had like 4 catches, 3 touchdowns, 100.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But he's got speed and he's fast.
Yeah,
and he's available in our league and probably in a lot of others.
Yeah, well, he's on waivers right now in our league. So I put in for him.
So did I. So I'm not sure where we are on. Well, there's a lot of teams. We're not going to get him.
We're not going to get him. Let's go to that injury report, man. Stafford messed up. He all messed up. Sean McVay, what am I do? What am I do?
That's it. I think it's over for Matthew. I think it's it. I think it's done.
He's so injury prone.
Yeah, I think it's done. And his motivation was to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And he has done that. He did that last year. And I just had a feeling about him going into this upcoming season because he was available during the draft. And I just had a feeling because I had him on fantasy football teams last year and did very well with him. But something about that Super Bowl hangover and that letdown, and then you lose Odell Beckham, and then Von Miller is gone, and they've lost so many pieces, and they've had injuries, and he's been injured. He was dealing with the elbow injury early on in the season. So I just really think he just needs to. He's probably never recovered from the elbow injury that he was dealing with in the preseason. He's probably never.
And if he's on your fantasy team, it's time to move over for somebody else too.
It's time to move over and trade this week because the trade deadline is this week as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Now, speaking of the Rams, Cooper Kupp When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it's just coming down. It's a wrap for the Rams. They're done this season. It's over. It's over. I mean,
put a fork in it.
Yeah, it's done. And then Cooper may come back in time for those fantasy football owners that still have him on the team and just move him to the IR. He should be back and viable during the playoff run for fantasy football. So you definitely hold on to him. But how effective he's going to be if Matthew Stafford is not able to produce the way that we expect him to do on a weekly basis, which has not been much this year. But one thing he does do, throw the ball to Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. And we're talking about the NFC West. And speaking of the NFC West, man, Kyler Murray. We just talked about that a few seconds ago about what do you do? Now you've got Colt McCoy. He's coming in. He's injured. What was it? A hamstring? Would that take about 3 or 4 weeks? Because we know that what's my guy that's wide receiver for I was going to say San Diego Chargers, the LA Chargers.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen having problems with his hamstring.
And Mike Williams has been out too.
Yeah, so that hamstring is not something that heals real fast. What's going on, Dolphin JK? He said, sup, guys. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing, dog?
Thanks for checking in. As we stay with the NFC West, God, man, Zach Ertz. So your quarterback gone and your tight end gone.
Yeah, and the irony is that they played the first 6 weeks of the season without Hopkins, right? So you're just waiting for D-Hop to come back, hoping that once he comes back, now you have your full roster of players to be able to put out there on the field at one time on the offensive side of the ball. So now you figure that the Arizona Cardinals can be at full strength. And then once he comes back, and then they've had so many injuries in the backfield. Connors has been out for a while. Yeah. They lost Williams for a minute, and then they just released Benjamin. So they've just had it's just a lot of disarray in Arizona right now.
Were you talking about that NFC West? So I guess if you got anybody in San Francisco and Geno looking real good now. I mean, we joked about Geno back when he first got back on the field. Geno looked like the real deal right now. He's the real pick.
Yeah, and he said that they wrote him off, and he didn't write back. so
that's probably his best line this year.
Yeah, he's playing some good ball, but then also in Seattle they have a running game, so they have Kenneth Walker there, the third, that's able to complement him. So as long as the threat of the run is there, and that's what Tampa Bay did in that game this past weekend, and Germany, they made sure they did everything to shut down the run, and they left it up to Geno. And say, okay, Geno, you're going to have to be able to beat us. And it seemed like that old Tampa Bay defense showed up in this game. And Kenneth Walker wasn't able to get off the way he normally does. So therefore, the play action wasn't working as well. So Geno definitely, and they won't see a defense like Tampa Bay's each and every week. I mean, they still have some great players on that side of the defense. It just seems as if they've been stuck in the mud. And maybe after that win against the Rams on that last second touchdown that Brady threw, and then this win against Seattle, you may see Tampa Bay starting to hit their stride, and they're in first place in the worst division in the NFL.
Hey, whatever, man.
It is the worst division in the NFL.
It is pretty bad right now.
Everybody's under 500, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm going off the top. Whereas, as I said early in the season, the AFC East is the best division in football. I said that at the start of the season, and y'all laughed
around
at me
about the NFC East, calling it NFC least. And
NFC least, right.
They're 8-1, 6-2, 7-2. They're doing pretty good.
But the AFC East is the best division right now. If the playoffs started today, every team in the AFC East would make the playoffs. Every single one.
They're only going to get 3. We'll find out.
I'm just saying. I'm not lying. It's a fact.
We got the rest of the season to go. We're going to find out.
I'm just saying, y'all were laughing at me when I said it was the best division in football.
Okay, yeah, we were laughing at you.
So, yeah. No. Now look.
Look at you now. Look. How you like me now?
That's right.
Let's talk about do you see the picture up now? You still can't see?
I can't see anything.
No problem. I got Baker Mayfield up with PJ right now because PJ's hurt and Baker is coming in. So what do you think about the replacement for Baker? I dig Baker. I think he's serviceable. I think he's serviceable. So, Baker's coming back. We'll see. Let's talk about Zeke. I got Zeke up on the pitch, up on the TV now.
About Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott.
What about him? I mean, like,
is it time for you if you
Tony
got Zeke on your squad to kind of retire him and just if you can? Well, most folks have already.
If I have him on my squad, it just depends on what the Dallas Cowboys decide to do. You know what I mean? Right now, and I know you got some of that. You got some of those stats because I sent them to you over the weekend. But they have to really self-scout themselves. Right. They had a lead against the Green Bay Packers this past weekend. And basically what you do when you have a lead, it's time to control the ball, control the clock. And if you got Tony Pollard, and I think he ran for over 100 yards in that game, and you got Ezekiel, well, he's been hurt. But when he comes back, the Cowboys need to run the ball.
Right.
That's what they need to get back to. That's what they did with Cooper Rush. So that's what they need to do now with Dak. Dak doesn't need to
terrible. Dak was terrible.
I mean, and I haven't been impressed since he came back. So he's basically showing you who he is and treat him as a game manager right now. We don't know how much that ankle is still bothering him. You know what I mean? He may have not really fully recovered from that ankle. So he may not be as mobile as he used to be.
Right.
So
if you got Dak Prescott and you out there checking us out and it's on your fantasy football team, or if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, definitely hit us up in the chat right now. Speaking of, make sure.
But my point is, you hold on to him because Dallas should get back to running the ball.
Right.
And when Zeke is healthy, they should be running the ball. So if you have Zeke, he may be your number 2 or your number 3 running back on your team, but you keep him on your team because that's what Dallas should get back to. And that's probably what they're going to learn from this game in particular against Green Bay. And once Dallas saw what Washington did to the Eagles last night, that's what they're going to practice. That's what they're going to work on because that's where Philadelphia has shown that they're vulnerable right now. So what they're going to do is start running the rock. And Philadelphia, some of the running backs, they're going to have to see Barkley a couple of times. So that So running that football is very important as you get into, the latter part of November into December.
Well, it's a copycat league, but at the same time, I do believe that even though they got gashed last night, they're going to address it. Believe me, they're addressing it today on what happened last night. So I'm not going to count out the defense for Philly yet because it has been probably one of the best defense if you're playing fantasy football to pick up or have on your squad if you're using total defense.
That is true, but Dallas ran the rock down Philadelphia's throat as well when they played them earlier this season too. Right. So they were successful running the ball against Philadelphia. So, they got to fix it.
Color commentary says Eagles could drop a couple of games now that the bubble is burst.
That is true.
That's true. I mean, you got folks. It's like, okay, now we know how to kill the wicked witch from the east. Oh, okay, we figured it out.
That's right.
Because I remember when they beat Dallas, everybody said, okay, that's how you beat Dallas defense. You run right at Parsons. Got to run right at him. You can't let him just run around. You got to run right at him.
Right. You're right.
Yeah. Jerry Jeudy, man, he's out. He done pulled up. He's out. So Russell Wilson.
And I'm glad I passed on him in the draft. I'm happy. He was one of those. I remember, I've been talking about this all season. I think it was the 4th round, and I'm looking at Jerry Jeudy. I'm looking at J.K. Dobbins, and I can't remember who the 3rd player was. And I end up going, unfortunately, the player I selected got hurt, and it was either T.J. Watt or Myles Garrett. And Myles Garrett has done well. He's missed a couple of games, but Dolphins comes back to the Dolphins. Dolphins shut him down on Sunday. I mean, he had like 2 tackles. So, but it was in that round to where some of those players I felt, I'm not sure about. Jerry Jeudy was one of those, and not knowing whether or not he'd be able to get that chemistry established quickly enough with Russell Wilson. And we see how Russell Wilson is done. I mean, the Seahawks may have known more about Russell than they let on.
Right.
Because, Russell is one of those, he's a mobile quarterback. He is excellent at, maybe looking at his first possible second read, boom. And then after that, he's extending the play. He's rolling out of the pocket. And I think that's exactly what Denver has to get back to. They need to do that or establish that, because him sitting in the pocket and not being familiar with his receivers, Lockett is not there. Metcalf is not there. And those are guys he had great chemistry with. And he doesn't have a running game right now. So,
So if you got Russell Wilson as your quarterback.
If you got Denver, you're in trouble. If you got any of the players on Denver.
Wide receivers, tight ends.
It's a problem. They're not scoring any points.
Defense, everybody, nobody. It's just
no. If you got some defenders on Denver, that's good, because they're not scoring a lot of points. So therefore, that means they're going to give the offense a lot of opportunities to have the ball. So therefore, if the offense is running a lot of plays, that's going to give your defenders more opportunities to score points.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I got it figured out. This is my first year, E.
I see you though, but you're rolling, baby. You're rolling. If you're checking us out, don't forget we do this each and every Tuesday right here on the Miami Sports Music Network. And shout out to Stephen for inviting us and having us on his platform.
Yes.
We're truly appreciative of you putting us on the platform. We love it, brother. We love it. We love it. We love it.
I'm like, you staying in this NFC too long, man. You always been talking about NFC this show. What about the AFC? We didn't even talk about the Vikings and the Bills game. What's wrong with you, E?
Hey, man.
Come on, man.
You can talk. What are we talking about? We're gonna talk about Josh Allen with that bad elbow, and he still killed it.
No, the game of the year, the catch of the year. I mean, that was probably one of the greatest. We'd have to go back to say that OBJ catch when he was in a New York Giants uniform was probably one of the best catches that we've ever seen.
Right.
I mean, I'm a Dolphin fan, so I've seen Oronde Gadsden make some serious one-hand grabs that some people, nationally may not recognize. But that catch that Jefferson made with that one hand was probably one of the best catches we'll ever see, because he had one hand, the defender had two, and he was still able to bring it in, And then the way they went back and forth, within that game and going into overtime. And then, Josh Allen basically on that last drive, Josh Allen basically made up in his mind that it was not going to be a tie. Right. He was not going to kick a field goal, because the drive prior to that, when he was down by 3, he dinked and dunked. He dropped the ball off to the guy in the flat and slowly moved the ball down the field. Now, the drive in overtime, he wasn't doing that. There was no dinking and dunking. He went back. Nobody was open. Boom, he took off. On 2 plays, he took off running. And then he basically said, it's not going to be a tie. We're going to win. We're going to lose. He had that decided in his mind as he was going down the field on that drive. And boom, they end up losing. But he already made it up in his mind. That's what he was going to do.
All right, Fins Up Wednesday says, "Sup, guys?
What's
up, Fins Up?"
That's right.
Absolutely, man. This thing went fast.
And he said fins up because right now the Miami Dolphins are 7-3 in first place in the AFC East.
All right.
Tua Tagovailoa is 7-0 when he starts
and
finishes the game.
Okay.
Mind you, had he finished the game in Cincinnati and the 3 losses, which most of the people in the national media are not talking about.
Right.
The 3 losses that the Miami Dolphins had, and each one of the games, let's go with the Minnesota Vikings, since they're supposed to be such a great team. 3 turnovers in that game. The quarterback was not Tua Tagovailoa. The starting quarterback was Skylar Thompson. And then came Teddy Bridgewater. 3 minutes left to go in the game. We are driving in the 4th quarter to basically take the lead. Jalen Waddle fumbles the ball. Tua didn't play that game against the Jets.
Hey, we got to wrap it up, man. Somebody's right behind us on the show.
All right, man. Against the Jets, I'm going to wrap it up. All I'm just saying is Tua Tagovailoa, 7-0 when he starts and finishes his game. Those 3 games, had he start, we'd probably be undefeated right now.
Okay, well, we're going to find out. You got the rest of the season to go. Go undefeated for the rest of the season.
What are we talking about right now? First place, 2nd seed in the AFC East. All right, man. Sign out.
No, man, before we get out of here, let everybody know how they can follow you.
Well, you can find me at Star 94.5 in Orlando, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 p.m. I am on the air there. Number one music show, 2554 in Orlando. And also you can check me out on Hot 105 Saturday nights from 6 to 10 p.m. And of course, check me out doing my sports talk right here with Eric Lee and also with my brother, Jeff Fox.
Yeah,
the Sports
absolutely.
Brothers.
You can catch me on my social media at Dirty South FFL on Twitter as well as Instagram. Man, this happened real quick. If you out there and you catch us on Rewind, make sure you give us a thumbs up on Facebook. And of course, please subscribe to the social media channels where you're checking us out. We truly appreciate it. And share. We'll see you next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast. We out. Ooh.